guys! Basa akong buhok. Gikuan jud ko. Pamaulan kog arnis gani. Magistorya ta ako rang usa diri kay today is Super Bowl. I heard. I don't really watch it. I don't follow it. But my husband went to visit his friend. So it's just me and my babies. And then Vix. Butangan ako akong tiil o Vicks when I go to sleep. So, mag-istorya ta. Istoryahan ta mo beginning sa akong efforts pag-plan ako og ari sa US. Oh, kanig yung istorya ha. Tinuod jud ni. Originally, wala jud ko'y plan nga moari sa US. I love Cebu. Cebu is a nice place. We have the beaches. We actually have a lot of hills, mountains, white sand, beaches. Nindot gud kaayo diha. Labi na sa una nga dili pa kaayo siya developed. Nindot gud kaayo. Maglisod jud ka og say bye to Cebu because it's such a beautiful place. Anyway, one day my mom said, undang daw og eskwela. Nihilak ko, ingon ko nganong ako man ang paundangon nga naa may daghang older sisters and brothers, sila unta ang muundang. Ingon siya, you need to help me sell stuff or vend fish at the market because ikaw man ang dili maawon and people like you. Then I cried. I said, well, it's not fair because I love school. And she said, that's just it. You'll always go back to school and bright man ka, so you'll still remember. So kuha dyan ako. Ako ni kaan that day. Naguol kaayo ko because I really love school. I love studying. I love the smell of books, new pens, pencils, just the paper, the pads. It just feels good. And I love my teachers. I love my school. So anyway, that day, I left the house and I was going to church. And church is the place where I gather my thoughts. I usually go when there's no mass, like in the afternoon, adto ko sa Blessed Sacrament, or in the afternoon, wa gyud taw, pero abli gihapon. So I would go talk to the ladies selling candles outside the church, and then I'll go in and I'll pray because wala distractions, and really when it's quiet you can hear what's in your heart and in your head, and you know, ma-pour out gud nimo tanan ba kay walay saba, walay tao maka-concentrate jud ka ana. Anyway, I was in the church crying because I didn't want to quit school, and I was in second year high school. I was young because I started grade school at 5. My brother, Erwin, he was 7 and I was 5, and we started first grade together. So I was young. So maybe that's why my mom decided to have me quit, because I was 2 or 3 years ahead of everybody. I started young, and then I skipped a few grades kay mga grade 2, you know, the teacher said, oh, you should be in grade 3 because you're smart, and I can't have you here because, you know, you make the other kids feel inferior. Because at second grade I was already speaking a little bit of English, and I already, you know a lot of things for a second grader at 6 years old. So I skipped, I think, third grade, and I went to fourth grade, and then I skipped half a year on fifth grade, and something like that. So I graduated elementary younger than anybody else in my class. Anyway, paggawas na ako sa church, ako na sang gi-visit ang katong mga ladies selling candles kay maluoy man gyud ko nila nya. Kanang ang uban bitaw kanang pungkol nya, ang uban kanang kuyot na jud ang face kay old na kay sila nya, naninda gyapon candles. Ang uban buta nya, naninda sila candles. Usahay ako silang tabangan og tinda. Kanang usahay do na say mamaligag flowers, so kanang kung naa ako'y time, ako silang i-visit katong mga ladies selling candles, and then katong namaligyag flowers akong patuparon para kung naay mo palit og buwak, ako silang hagdan, oh palit sad siya kandila di Paris, di ba? So mahalinan pud sila. Anyway, paggawas na nako nya, nag-say bye na ko sa katong mga vendors outside the church. Lakaw na ko padung sa plaza. Kanang plaza sa Mandawi sa una. Excuse me, I just ate. Ang atbang sa City Hall naa na siya plaza nga naa siya terrace sa ibabaw nga sa kakasahagdan adto ka sa ibabaw niya. Kuan ba? Suroy-suroy. Kung nakay uyab, suroy-suroy, kanang kupot-kamot, ana ba? So saka ko ngadto sa taas, init man kay mga udto, or I can't remember what time it was. So nanaog ko balik, padung na ko uli niya. Hilak na pod ko. Wag yan nahurot ang luha dito sa simbahan ba. So I was walking the curbside sa my school, elementary school, Mandawi City Central School. Doon ay nakapajero, or I can't remember, basta it's an SUV ang ilang car. Ni Hunong, dali-dali kog lakaw, abin ako kidnapper. Dali-dali kog lakaw, di. Nagawas, babae, Amerikana. Nya, ang ihang bana, nakapark gyapon niya. Murag unahan na ba di ni Hunong ko niya, naingon siya ay, hello, good afternoon, what's your name? Ngung ko, Richie. Siya, do you speak English? I said, yes. Mura siyag na-shock ba? I was young and I spoke English well. I was already second year high school. And I really spoke English well. My father taught me English at a real young age. And I loved it. So I've mastered it when I was young. And she was surprised. She says, wow, you speak English. I said, yes, I do. And I love English. And I started telling her how much I love school, and that my mom was making me quit school, and it's making me so sad. And I can't keep my tears from falling because I want to be able to finish school, because to me, education is that important. So she says, I see. May anak siya, oh dear, that's why you're crying. So she said, oh, you want to ride? I said, oh no, it's okay. My mom would get mad because stranger, I shouldn't be talking to a stranger. So they asked if I wanted to talk. The wife said, wa ko kita sa yambana, abin ako Pinoy. So I said, yeah, I want to talk, but I don't want to go in the car. I feel unsafe because I don't know you and you don't know me, and I'm little. And she started laughing. She says, here's what we can do. You can follow us. We're gonna drive to the church where you feel safe, and we'll talk. I said, okay. So they were in the church, and I went back. They were there first because of course they drove, parked, and then went in. I still have to walk back. And then before I went in, I told the ladies selling candles, I'm like, Nay, Amerikana niya, makigistorya na ako. So bantay ko ha, kung dili ko magawas, kanang kuha ako ninyo. Akong gisabot daan. Mao to, lingkod ko nya silang duha diha nya. Ang bana ana siya sa iyang antipara, tan-aw siya taas kay ilong. Nya ang wife ingon siya, "I'm Colette and this is my husband Marcy." Said, "Hi, nice to meet you. My name is Richie and we just met. Nice to meet you." I told him that I just met the wife. He says, "I know. So what seems to be the problem?" So I had to, tell him the story. I said, "Oh, nothing really. I was on my way home and I guess you guys saw me and you wanted to talk." And they're like, "No, you wanted to talk." I said, "I really don't have anything to say. I'm just sad. I feel pain." And then they said, "Why?" So I said, "Well, my mom is making me quit school and I have to work because, we're really poor and I don't know if someone would even consider hiring me. I'm underage." Maoto. Maoto sinugdanan. So we talked for about 3 hours and eventually niingon si Ma'am Colette, "This is my card. Go to this address tomorrow, Tuesday, and ask for us." So I had no idea. I said, "Okay, I know where Magikay is, but I might bring my sister because I don't think my mother would allow me to go that far. Kay dili man gud mi palaagon ato sa una." So they left and then I went home. What's really funny, the next day I was like, "No, I'm not gonna go. Basig kidnapon ko niya, kinural ana ba?" But my heart was like, you don't have to go in the gate. When you see them, see how you feel about it. And if you don't trust them, run, run for your life. So I went, nag-tricycle ko, nang huwam ko og pliti. Murag 1.50, 150 pesos. Ay, nakalimot naman ko pila tong pliti. Basta ang akong huwam, 150 pesos. Padung sa Magikay. Tok-tok ko. Dako ka ng gate. It says, Tambuli Fashion Accessories. So I said, tok-tok ko, tok-tok. Guardhouse kay, taas pa siya kay sa gate. Nga, dako gigaayo. Siya, unsa man? Akong giwara-wara ang business card. Yung giablihan gate. Unsa man? Nangita ko ani. Ako ning friend. Wanda yun ang guard. Diyan man ani mo nakit eh. Ingon ko hinatag man ni atong Amerikana. Ingon siya panhiyon daw ko. Siya, yang gisirhan ang gate. Di ako na, tuk-tuk. I need to talk to them. He's like, so iyang gitawagan, ambot kung kinsa iyang gitawagan, murag personnel or unsa. Giingnan siya, pasudlon daw. Nya gipasaka ko nila, kuyugan ko sa gwardiya, saka nga to sa second floor. Dako ka istanan nga building, duha ka buildings. Kayugan ko niya nga to second floor. Pag tanaw na ko, ana dayon, dako ka istanang office nga glass wall siya. Nya tuwa sila ditong duha kanang ang mag-asawa ba diri si Ma'am Colette then Marcy Goldstein. Tupad sila niya, dagko kaayog desk niya. O ako katingog na siga akong mata ba nga. Lang kadato gud ay ani nila no. Ana dayon ang katong Amerikano. Come in daw. Di tanaw ko sa gwardiya. Anak ko. Siya. Pasudlon daw ka. Wa ko ni badge. I'm like, I'm not going to, I don't know who these people are. So anyway, ang wife si Mrs. Colette Goldstein. Gawa siya. Siya, "Come my dear." Kay I was really young and they were probably in their 50s. "Come my dear, come." And then tagaan ko nila kanang It's not a couch, but like a stool, and it's like very nice, expensive stuff, leather. Sa lingkod ko, murag yung correct ba gamay kay. Ya dagko kay sa tag-as nga Jewish man sila. Lingkod ko. How do you like it if you come to work here? Ingon ko, no, it's illegal. I'm underage. Ngon sila nga, you don't have to tell anybody. We won't have to tell anybody, but you'll be making good money. You speak English, and we have buyers from out of the country, from the US, Australia, that buy our stuff. You can just help our fashion coordinator in the showroom, just dust and, do some displays. Ngadto ko no sa showroom nya, bitay-bitay sa mga earrings ana. Di ingon ko, okay. And then siya, oh, you can do that part-time, and then at the same time we can send you to school. So ako silang giingnan, no, my mom's wishes is that I don't go to school, and I either have to help at the fish market or go to work full-time. So maybe I'll take the go to work full-time option if it's okay. Mato. Anyway, ila kong gipa-start the next day. And then it was so funny, they put me in the sampling department. So what they do is they manufactured brooches, pins, hair clips, necklaces, earrings that are native, like made of coconuts, buri, wood, bayong, different beads, different sized beads, shells, very nice ones. And what they do is they design it there, they put it together there, and then they export it to the United States. And they didn't have children, so they retired in Cebu, and I guess that they did that for fun and to help people, in the Philippines. So they did that. So I started in the sampling department, and actually it was really funny because I met a friend there. She's my friend before I got there, and we were working in the same room, same area, and she's like, "Hey, Che, ganun na ka diri?" Ingon ko, "Ay, nada ka work diri, work na sa ko diri." So she kind of helped me out dito nga unsaon pag-assemble nga kinsa ang mga designers nga I'm gonna be working with, and then asa ang showroom. So murag siya ang gikuha nila nga mag-mentor nako, og ang iyahang aunt nga si Edita, I still talk to her from time to time. She is now a missionary, and so I did that for actually a few years. I did that for about 3.5 years. And one day we had our sports fest. So we would go to different beaches, and different departments would perform, and I would always play ping pong, and some would play basketball, and then we have our luncheon, and then everybody sings or dance, and I'm always like, oh yes, I can do that, because I was the youngest. I was like the baby. So they called me that day, and they said, would you be willing to go back to school full time? And we'll still give you money. You don't have to work anymore because you work so hard. You should go to school because you're very smart, they said. So I said, oh, I still have to work just maybe 1 more year, and then I'll consider going back to school after that. So the wife said, "Hun, what are your dreams?" So I said, my dreams in life would be to probably go to the United States. I don't know how and I don't know when, but what's in my heart is telling me to help my mom so she doesn't have to worry about the bills and the food or having everyone, you know, go to school and there's no money for the tuition. And, you know, I just don't want her to worry about finances anymore. And if I can help in any way, like what I'm doing now, would be good. And then she stopped me and she goes, I understand, but you know, this is what she told me that stuck with me. That day she said, you know, if you believe in it, that it would happen, then it would. Do you believe it? I said, yes, I believe it. I just, you know, don't know when. She said, well, patience and perseverance and believing in yourself makes everything come true. That's what she said. So she keeps saying, believe in yourself and believe in your dreams and it will come true. Mauna ang iyahang lesson sa ako that day. And then the next day, personnel manager called me and he said, you know, they don't have kids. And they came to me yesterday after, I guess you had a chit chat, and ganahan sila nga adapon ka. Nya, akong giingnan Mr. naman, so I can't accept it. You know, I mean, as much as I love to, but I can't leave my parents. He's like, well, you don't have to leave them. It's just gonna be all paperwork. And I knew right away that they were planning to help me to get to the United States. And I declined. I said, no, I can't just take money for free, and that's why I work. I mean, we're poor, but I can't. That would be like stepping all over my family name's reputation, and I just can't, you know, accept money without having to pay, or I can't. So he said, you're sure? I said, I'm sure. He says, okay, so I guess you'll work for a few more months and you're on your way. And I said, yeah. So the next day, the owners called me, Mr. and Mrs. Goldston, and they said, if you ever need anything, let us know. But here is, tagaan ko nilag envelope. Here is, since you won't accept any money, here is a name of a very close friend nga siyang gisabot nga makatabang siya nimo to fulfill your dreams. Mao to. So I went home and I didn't open it. I didn't open the envelope until about 3 months later. So evidently, when I opened it, there was a little bit of dollars, which I used to pay tuition. I went back to school for 2 years to finish high school, and there was a contact person inside the envelope. Nya, maato si daddy. They contacted him. He also is Jewish. Wala siya'y family. He was 41 and he came to visit. So they got us together. We talked, and then koan siya, bayot siya, but dili siya halata. But Mr. and Mrs. Goldston told me nga bayot jud siya. And then we talked. I told my parents that he was my pen pal for a long time and he was visiting, and they were really happy because they were saying, you know, I can marry someone foreigner and be rich and help out and all that. But and ako lang silang gitando whatever they want to do, but sa pagkatinuod jud si dad kay kuan to siya, friends to siya ni Mr. and Mrs. Goldston, Marcy and Colette Goldston, the owner of Tambuli Fashion Accessories nga ilag yung gi-contact nga kuan ba tabangan ko and guide me how to get here sa US, what kind of job I should do, and where to finish school, where to live, where it's safe, and all that. So, to make a long story short, Dad went to Cebu twice or 3 times. The first time I was still going to school, and he was helping me process the application for a visa. After that, Mr. and Mrs. Goldstein contacted an agency to help me process my passports. So I had that, the driver of Tambuli took me everywhere, you know, using their car, like to get NBI clearance for my pictures, fill out applications, and process the passport until I got the passport. And Mr. and Mrs. Goldstein also checked with me. They would call my school, Mandawi Academy, to check on me that I'm still going to school and that, you know, I'm doing the paperwork. So our guidance counselor was my high school advisor, and she usually would get the calls and she would ask students to get me from the classroom, and I would go run to the office and answer the calls from Mr. and Mrs. Goldstein and from Dad in California. So eventually in 1993, late 1993, my application got approved, and I got my visa shortly after high school graduation. And a week later, I was on my way to the United States. So that's how it all worked. All the while, it was hard because I can't tell my parents the truth, because Mr. and Mrs. Goldstein understood the Philippine culture and the traditions that a lady should not leave, especially a very young one, should not leave the home with a guy, a male, and not married. So my parents all the while thought that he was marrying me. Dad was. Eventually, when I got to the United States, he told me, you know, what truly happened, and he told me about his life. He doesn't have kids. He has sisters, he has nephews, but they're not close. So he treated me like his very own and only daughter. He passed away 2 years ago and left me everything. His last message was that he told me, never give up anything you love, no matter the cost. So he loved helping people. He loved going to shelters and saving animals, people, giving people homes. And he truly was a good person. And when he said never to give up what I love doing, it means not to give up helping, because we helped people together and we helped animals together. We did a lot of things together, and he was my guiding light the whole time I was here, since from the beginning. Siya ang nagtudlo nako og drive, siya ang nagtudlo nako unsa nga course ko haon sa college. Siya nagtudlo kung unsa nga klase nga people to hang out with. Siya ang nagtudlo kung how to eat healthy. Siya ang nag-guide nga asa puyo dapit, asa ang safe, mahal, unsa nga klase nga car ang paliton nga bisag expensive, it lasts forever. Eventually people would ask me to go out for a date, and I would ask them to meet him, or I would ask him to meet them first, because growing up I had a very hard time trusting men. I didn't trust men at all, so ako gyud siyang ipa-meet kay si dad kuan gyud to siya, kanang iyang instincts very strong, and he was almost always right, and I trusted him with my life. He was a truly good person. So he helped me with everything. He said that he brought me here because I'm smart, and he brought me here to the US, and he agreed to help because I wasn't selfish, and that my dreams were not for my own. And he said that's a very difficult trait to trace or to look for in a person. When I turned 21, he asked me what I wanted for my birthday, and I told him I wanted a doll. He says, "A doll? You're 21." I said, "I've never had a doll. Growing up, we were so poor. I did not have a doll. I've never experienced, holding a doll or playing with a doll. And me and my sisters, we didn't have dolls." So for my 21st birthday, Daddy bought me a walking doll, a big doll, and I've kept it for so many years. And eventually, I've met another little girl who couldn't afford to have a doll, and I gave it to her. She's from Mexico. And that was the beginning of my life here. I went to college, finished a bunch of degrees. I never stopped going to school and going to work at the same time. And that's where I'm at. Tiwaso na to next time kay daghan pa kong istorya. So for now, it's Sunday night. Unya matug kog sayo kay Monday ugma mag-office pa. Aloha! Thank you guys for subscribing and for following, the story of my life. I hope somehow, one reason or another, it would help you too to think positively about life, and it always gets better. Believe it. That's what Mrs. Goldstein said. Bye! Aloha!